This is Landscape Color Study 6, and we are going to look at a new American artist named Frederick Edwin Church, and he's a famous American artist, as is Ennis actually. And this painting is at the National Gallery of Art. It is huge. It is almost 8 feet long. So we're really gonna have to simplify here in terms of shapes. So let's first measure. So this is 6 and 15/16 by 3 and 3/16. So we're going to divide our paper, which is 9 by 6. So we're dividing 4.5 and 3 because we want to find the center line. And there are other ways to do this. We could do the math and subtract the margins, and that seems harder to me. So we're going to do it this way, but you could do it a different way if you feel comfortable. Now I can't remember what the dimension was. Okay, 3 and 3/16. So half of 3 is going to be 1.5, and then 3/16 is going to be 1.5/16. So I'm going to mark on the 0 and the 3 and 3/16. And my clear ruler makes this easy for me. If you don't have a clear ruler, you just have to look above the markings to split the 16th. Or you might have a 32nd measurement on your ruler, which I do not. Okay, so this is going to be 6 and 5/16. So that's almost 7. So we're going to put it 3.5, and then we're going to move down to make it shorter and go in between the 16th. And I'm going to mark it 0 and 6 and 5/16. Okay, when I unstretch my paper, I'm gonna erase these. I could erase them now, these overlap marks. I'm gonna stretch the paper. I'm gonna use my masking tape. And if you're buying masking tape for this, the best one I know is this Scotch brand. You can see it's got this diagonal gray line against the white. I think it's the gentlest on the paper, and I still put it on my clothes before I stretch the paper. And I have knocked this one against something, so there's the side that I put on the outside because it creates this little divot. So these are the kinds of things that are helpful to pay attention to, just to make things easy for yourself. Art is an object, so the things we create are physical objects. And we want to keep in mind that we're trying to keep our paper clean and take care of this thing that is a physical object. Just like we would take care of, I don't know, our favorite t-shirt or something like that. You care about how your mom washes it in the washer because it's a physical object. So that transfers here. And we're learning craftsmanship and how to take care of things, how to make things clean and neat in their presentation, which is actually really important. Okay, so I've got a lot of extra space here because this is a very long, skinny painting. And so I'm putting 2 layers of tape on these sides, and I'm being out of an abundance of caution. I'm putting this extra long piece of tape just because I want to make sure it stays clean. Okay, and I did a better job over here with overlapping it, so I don't need a 3rd piece of tape on this one. Okay, so let's look at this and think about how to simplify. All right, the dominant colors here, we have white, which we don't really need to count that. I'm gonna not count that as one of my 3 colors. We're simplifying because things are complex and we want to make things manageable. We want to just develop a structure in our painting. We want to see how did Church use colors in order to create this effect. So we got purple, we have blue, we have turquoise, and then we have this like brownish color. So I'm gonna do purple, brown, and turquoise because I think those are the ones that I have to have. And then I'm gonna make a blue too. So we're gonna cheat a little bit and do 4 colors. If you make an 8-foot painting, you're entitled to make a painting that needs more than 3 dominant colors. So, okay, I'm gonna lay out my palette. And I always put the colors in the same order, in the same place, so that I don't have to figure out where they are. And obviously they're right in front of me, but if I have to think, oh wait, the blue over here, or the blue is over here today, last week it was in a different spot, that's just mental energy that makes the experience stressful and increases the likelihood of making a mistake. And I'm gonna draw a circle where I'm gonna put medium. And this is for my beginner artists because medium looks a lot like white paint. Okay, so if I look at this, I actually think this is gonna help me. I'm looking for a purple that's almost just like this. So I wanna mix blue and red, obviously to make purple, but I think this will give me something similar to what I want. And then with turquoise, this is also pretty close. So I want to mix yellow and blue, but blue certainly dominant. Add a little bit of white. I'm going to have to mix yellow and this turquoise in order to get this greener color. And then to make this yellowy brown, it's actually this color. We'll see. Okay, so in order to mix this, I mixed purple red and yellow green. So I need all the primaries in order to make brown, obviously. But I want to be heavy on red and yellow, I think. So orange with a tiny bit of blue is what I want to do to make this. Okay, let's start. So I'm gonna I'll put my purple up here, because if I want to reach for my sky color, maybe it makes sense for it to be above my earth colors. Okay, we're just gonna see what happens. And I would say it's definitely like a reddish, kind of pinkish purple. So mixing white, because I need some white, tells me really what color I have. This is very much more blue than what I want it to be. And probably also more light. Too much white. still too heavy on the blue here. So you can see how I'm jumping off from one color to, and this jumping off helps me control how much paint is in there better than I can with my palette knife, and also helps me make a comparison. So I'm gonna put a little bit of this in here. Yeah, it's still too light and too red.
Just put them back.
Okay. There's a little bit of a darker color. I'm gonna try a tiny bit of black. That's a lot. Okay, let's make brown. Oh, I got blue here. So I'm gonna make orange. Just like I said, I'm trying to make, what am I trying to make? Something like this. I'm gonna need more red. I'm running out. I think I need more red than this, but I'm gonna add a little blue and see what happens. Because maybe I'm wrong about that. Yeah, that's not too bad. I think actually, maybe I need more yellow. Nope. Too yellow. Okay, this is pretty nice. Yep. So there's my second color. And then we need to make this turquoise. So if I use a fair amount of blue, now the blue is much, much stronger than the yellow is. So even though this is heavy on blue because it's turquoise, I'm still gonna need more yellow than I think. Okay, this is probably, that's too green. I also need a decent amount of this color, so maybe. Very close. I'm gonna make two versions of this. I'm gonna make a bluer version. Okay, that's pretty good. No, I can't get enough. I'm gonna make it enough different that it's useful along with that one. Okay, so I've got three colors, sort of. This one, and this one. And now we'll start to draw the painting. All right. Start with the sky. So I want to think about, like, where's the halfway mark? It's below the horizon. I'm sorry, the halfway mark is below the horizon. And I very helpfully have exactly what the center of the paper is here. So I'm going to put this above the center where I start my sky. And this is quite beautiful. I mean, this is one of the things that makes this painting really lovely, is the way these clouds are shaded and colored in the sky. And so we'll try to get a little bit of that here. Now again, this is a much bigger painting, so Church had more opportunity than we do to add complexity and subtlety to the sky. Okay, but this is roughly the purple area, and I'm gonna go in with this lighter part. And look, he even has this rainbow here, which is pretty cool. Okay, I'm gonna leave it like that for now. Okay, actually, instead of using yellow, first I'm gonna use this turquoise. That like vibrant color. It's really exciting. It dances along here. This color is more green than it looks. So I'm gonna make it yet more blue. Again, things in our palette look a little different sometimes than they do on the painting. So we'll just be ready to adjust for that. Okay, that's a little better. And I just want to get this in here. I have a lot of white. I'm always trying to respond to the structure of my painting. I'm always trying to draw every time I use paint. I don't want to just make a big area of like the turquoise, for instance, and then go back in over it. I will do some of that in areas, you know, refine, go back and forth. But the drawing is what's powerful about the painting. The way the paint is applied, the way the artist is reacting to what he's seeing. And if I just go in here and paint a big field of turquoise, I'm not responding to the drawing. And as you move through the painting in layers, you're also building the drawing, refining the drawing, building layers of that amazing thing that we call drawing. And so we don't want to just say, oh yeah, I'm gonna paint it all this color, and then I'll go in and like layer on top of it. Not in the drawing part. I mean, if you wanted to say like have a ground color or something that you purposely wanted to paint on, but that wouldn't be part of your main finished work. Okay, so this is very helpful that I can go back and forth with these colors because this brown and this turquoise green are really intertwined here in the front. And it helps us see that this water is going over the rocks. Okay, so we've got a painting here just from using those three colors, and I'm gonna mix white. It needs to be a little bit cream. I put a lot of white on my palette. I probably am not gonna need all that. Okay, I've got a little bit of white that's sort of this color. You see how there's that purple haze down there. Okay, and then I've got some white that is more golden. I'm gonna put a little bit of this in here. I want the white to not be as bright. Okay. So we've got this water cascading down here. Crashing into, I don't know what you call the base of the falls, but there's a lot of energy in this painting created by line. So the painting is just paint on canvas, but it's able to evoke in us some sense of motion and dramatic excitement, as if we were really in this place. Brushes. So I have this golden color. This white is a little cooler, but I'm gonna put it in here, just sort of dancing along this contour. And as I paint, I'm having to spend a lot of time looking here, and it's helping me observe more deeply. Since I made this from that, I can lighten this color. a little bit just for here because the sun's kind of coming off of there. Okay. Okay, this is not rosy enough. See, it looks kind of pinky there, but it's not. So the rainbow in here. So we gotta figure out how we're gonna make this look like mist. That's actually harder than I expected. Okay, it seems like we're gonna have to glaze because I gotta make a transition here that's incredibly soft. Okay. I'm gonna glaze with some plain white down here. This is a pretty big brush for this. I would recommend a smaller brush. My smaller brush is a little bit too small. Let's try it though. Maybe that would make things easier. So the caps of these lines are hitting the sun. So now I'm not glazing anymore. I want that to seem bright. There's foam caps over here, making this just plain white. Nice, nice, nice. Okay. This is the rainbow. And then it picks up over here, almost like, looks like a photograph distortion. Kind of interesting. Okay, let me go back to a creamier white for this part. And I want to glaze actually, because I want some of this purple to come through. Okay, and then I'm gonna glaze to make these transitions like just a hint that there's water, turquoise water in here. I'm not sure these are turquoise. I might have to go back and change that. Do you see more of this golden color. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so I have some like yellowy green here. Yeah, I think I need to push this original green that was too green towards yellow. And then I'll add a little bit of white. Too light, too light. We're almost done here. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of this plain white here in the front because the bright white will pop and come forward. So I wanna make sure I have a little bit of that here to compete with what's happening in the background that's really bright. And I can look at these as lines and shapes that interact and show the flow of this water, which is pretty exciting. I have too much water in my brush. I'm gonna glaze a little bit. Over top of this golden brown. And you see how effective that is because the water is transparent and then the glaze is transparent and they mimic each other. So I'll glaze the other way with the golden color. Might be dry. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the sky and finish this out. Okay, I need this to be like somewhat purple, I guess. Like a very purpley blue. Now I'm getting closer. Yeah. Okay, that's better. Actually, yeah, there's something kind of this golden about the sky. like this mist is rising up. Across the horizon. Paint is a little bit dried out. I had to stop and restart here, so this is, oh, I got some wet paint there. Let's use this because that's what I need, is this dark color. So I'm looking at value in addition to color. So I see that this is darker, and then we've got that bright white against it. And if you feel discouraged with your painting, not every single stage looks amazing and beautiful. So sometimes if you just keep painting, that's all you need to do to make it eventually come together. Okay, so this painting is, I'm gonna say almost done, except for I wanna put these lights in the sky, and then I wanna see if I can figure out how to make this rainbow do something. Let's see if I can get some of this. I just wanna dull this white a tiny bit. Okay, I'm gonna use this tiny brush. I'm gonna glaze. Too strong. Okay. To make this rainbow, I'm gonna glaze a tiny bit. I want like the lightest pink, I think. I'm gonna glaze over this white and see what happens. I just want to tint it, literally. Right in here. Tiny bit of blue. Okay, and that's it. And I feel very familiar with this painting, having observed it, and now I need to go see it again at the National Gallery.